Urshifu is a unique Pokemon that was introduced in the Generation 8 Isle of Armor and was given two unique forms, Single Strike and Rapid Strike. Both are which very good and competitive, although Single Strike will prove itself as an absolute monster, being banned to Ubers unlike the OU residing Rapid Strike. Urshifu is an excellent mon overall, and it's pretty obvious given its monster stat distribution. 130 attack and 97 speed and alright physical bulk is really nothing to sneeze at. What makes Urshifu so strong is its incredible broken ability of Unseen Fist, probably one of the best abilities ever introduced if not the. This ability allows Urshifu to completely bypass Protect, the move that allows for competitive Pokemon to be somewhat healthy. The move that keeps competitive Pokemon sane is completely negated by this Pokemon. This was and still is ludicrousy because it allows Urshifu to completely dominate with little to no drawbacks to worry about protective mons, so toxic stalling this thing was not an option. Both Urshifu forms were especially good because they got both signature moves that always do critical damage. This means it can easily bypass Garganacl's Iron Defense stall or even other intimidate users on Switch by using either Wicked Blow from Single Strike form or Surging Strikes from Rapid Strike form. Urshifu's Single Strike form, or frankly both forms to be honest, but more so this one, was such a great wall breaker and was a complete nightmare on the offensive end with his choice band set. But let's look further at Urshifu's Single Strike for a moment. It was mainly stopped by other fairy types in the metagame, such as Xerneas or Zacian, given its 4x weakness to Fairy and its dark stabs were resisted quite nicely. Faster Pokemon as well could take advantage, like Marshadow or an Eternatus, given Urshifu were usually choice banded, and 97 speed, while it seems pretty good, it's kind of middle of the pack in this day and age. Urshifu Rapid Strike on the other side, while it was a good wall breaker in and of itself, bulky water types or defensive grass types like Amoonguss, Slowking, Ferrothorn, and more were just a great way to stall it, not to mention the great Toxapex, which up until Generation 8 was not nerfed. In Generation 9 however, Urshifu has gotten 3 major buffs. Let's talk about Terastallization first, as I'm sure that is the quite obvious one. Terra is such a huge game changer mechanic, more so ever for Urshifu's Single Strike form. This is because it now has a way to maneuver around those pressuring fairy types. It could Terra to Steel, Fairy, or even something like Fire to help resist the incoming fairy onslaught. Additionally, a Terra Dark paired up with the Wicked Blow choice band is a filthy offensive firepower that could prove to be a hard switch. Urshifu on both forms all honestly will see Terastallization as more of a defensive mechanic than offensive, since it already gets great coverage moves with minimal reasons for a use of Terra Blast, at least so far that I can see. Urshifu Rapid Strike will probably have similar terastallizing options, eliminating that 2x fairy weakness, although I can see Terra Water also becoming a bit more popular with it as it has Surging Strikes and Aqua Jet as pretty common moves, so powering them up won't be so bad coupled with a choice band. Additionally, I see Rapid Strike making more use of Terra Blast if it so desires over something like an Aqua Jet because of its difficulties with bulky water types in the tier, so a Terra Grass, Terra Electric, could be counter picks, or even a Terra Fire as well for those bulky grass types such as Amoonguss so far in the OU tier. While on the topic of Urshifu Rapid Strike, another important point to point out is that out of the 2 Urshifu forms, apparently Rapid Strike is the only one that is actually able to learn the new Gen 9 move of Ice Spinner, a base 80 physical ice type move, which is actually really good coverage when you think about all the grass types like Amoonguss that has been able to easily come in on a Surging Strikes, which can be proven as another great counter move against these Pokemon. Anyways, moving on. The second and biggest reason why both of these Pokemon will serve as a huge issue to the Generation 9 betting game as an overall, both in Ubers and OU, although I don't see Rapid Strike staying in OU that much, is because of Swords Dance. Out of all moves to give this Pokemon, they now gave an already broken Pokemon with already broken signature moves and already broken abilities the move Swords Dance, allowing them to further increase their attack and wall breaking skill. This is massive, and it could be potentially the reason for vouching for Urshifu Rapid Strike to be banned to Ubers. One Swords Dance and it could be a wrap, especially since both Urshifu forms get priority in Sucker Punch for single and Aqua Jet for rapid. I don't know what went through Game Freak's head giving this Pokemon a boosting offensive option, but nevertheless it's here and it's going to be a real impact felt all across formats. Both Urshifu forms will be a daunting task to get rid of, and especially with the limited legendary pool we have currently, boy, they're gonna have a fun time. This alone makes both Urshifu forms auto S tier and placed into Uber tier in my opinion right away, because there is no real counter, for example, to a +2 life orb or black glasses, or even an X-Propel wicked blow critical hit going through protect, or even a surging strikes. The last thing I want to talk about, which by the way we already know Urshifu's single strike is probably Uber's no matter what happens, but this item is what enables probably Urshifu rapid strike to be over the top, and that is the punching glove, an item that boosts punching moves by 1.1 times and protects from having contact. And guess what? Both surging strikes and single strike are punching moves. Protecting from contact enables to be protected from additional rocky helmet damage, rough skin damage, static from Zapdos, which will be coming in the coming days from Pokemon Home, and especially negating that flame body from Volcarona. This is especially straight up broken, not just for Rapid Strike, but for both forms, because now it can be blocking secondary effects that could have proven to be good countermeasures, such as Flame Body and Static especially. Now obviously U-turn and other moves could proc those secondary effects, but generally speaking, boosting not only Wicked Blow and Surging Strikes base power, but not making contact and avoiding secondary effects from items or abilities is such a drastic measure of change. To put this in its proper perspective, Wicked Blow is a base now 82.5 from a 75 base, with Punching Glove prior to the crit, and not to mention a Sword Stance. This means if you have a Sword Stance alongside Wicked Blow's ability to critical hit always, this move is doing a lot of damage. I can keep going on and ranting about how gnarly this Pokemon is going to be in the competitive scene, but I think you guys get the gist. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more competitive content just like this, and watch these other competitive videos over here as well.